Guys, welcome back to my vlog. This is Terry Talks Fast. Guys, it's been a few days since I did a vlog. So, I actually did a vlog. So, I did a vlog and then I tried to tie it in with a podcast that I was doing. I've been podcasting, guys, over on Anchor FM, which is Spotify's version of their podcast thing. Podcast app, guys. It's super simple. It's really fun. I really love podcasting. I like it more than vlogging, actually. But I figured I could do a vlog and a podcast together. So I did one. Took like 3 tries. It was really hard to sync them up because I have the camera running. When I do a vlog here, it's really easy because I just let the camera run and it's about 10 minutes, and then I can edit it, throw music in. When you're podcasting, at least on the software that I'm using, this Spotify thing, you have to make an episode. You make a segment, then you stop the recording and you add the music, then it renders, and then you go to the next segment, and they stack on top of each other, and you can't go back and edit them. At least not in the software. So it's kind of like, on the fly. And so it was really hard for me to do both of these at once. I'm not as good of a multitasker as I thought I was. But anyways, guys, I've got a few podcasts, and if you want to see them over at Terry Talks Fast on Spotify, I'm trying to aggregate them into different podcast readers. So I figured out one. I'm on Google Podcasts now. You can see me on Google Podcasts or search me on Spotify, Terry Talks Fast. I'm signed up for Apple. That was a chore. That was like 1 hour this morning of just jumping through hoops, and it's still not verified. And anyways, but I'm going to try to get on. I can't get on iHeartRadio because I'm in the Philippines, but I can get on Apple, Google, maybe Amazon, and Spotify. So I'm on Spotify already and Google. Anyways, you guys can just search me in Spotify. You'll find me. Or you can just go to Terry Talks Fast Facebook and see my links for the podcast if you want to listen to them. They're about 30 minutes or so. So that's another problem is trying to do, when I try to combine this podcast with the video, the videos are generally 10 minutes and the podcasts are 30, so it's hard to do a podcast in 10 minutes. Okay, so my last podcast that I just did, I talked about a book. I did a book review. This book right here. Spoiler alert if you haven't read this book. Clive Cussler, Lost Empire. I know everybody's just clamoring over each other to get this 12-year-old book and read it right now. But, Clive Cussler, these are everywhere. You can find them at your local garage sales or Goodwill stores. Here in the Philippines, we don't have that luxury. So, guys, I stumbled across a Clive Cussler. If you've already seen the podcast, heard the podcast, I'm repeating. This is a shorter version of it. Guys, I found a Clive Cussler at a place here in the city I live in, like a little bed and breakfast thing, and they let me use it because it just snagged me. It was called The Chase. So, The Chase. So I read it and I loved it, and then I brought it back, and that was it. And then several months later, we went to another island called Baguio, and I was at a American's moving sale in this living room, and he had a box of these, like a dozen of them. So I grabbed them for nothing. Anyway, so guys, I read this book, Clive Cussler. So that's going to be a book review. So guys, this book is about 380 pages or something like that. 390 pages. I don't know. Anyways, if you've never read Clive Cussler, let me fill you in. This is him right here. That's it. He passed away, by the way. So guys, Clive Cussler is an American author, like a Southern gentleman type guy. So after I read the first book, The Chase, a while back, I was interested in it. And let me tell you why. I'm writing a book myself. I've been writing a book for the last 3 years, 2 books. Am I a good author? No. Like I've said before, to be a good author, you need to probably be a good reader, an avid reader, and I'm not. I used to be when I was a kid, and I slacked off. So I'm relying on stuff that I read in lit. I majored in lit, in English lit and stuff in college, and I read a ton of old English, like Tale of Two Cities and Ben-Hur and all these Leather Stocking Tales and stuff. These older books, but the books that I've read are like the Hardy Boys, as a kid. So anyways, but if you don't know anything about Clive Cussler, let me give you a few things about him. So all of his books are like sea hunter, deep sea exploration themes, things like that. These James Bond characters are almost caricatures. They have like no flaws. They're like superhuman. They know judo. They know all these skills, and they're just independently wealthy. And there's nothing stopping them from finding treasure and stuff. And so, anyways, the first book that I picked up was The Chase. It was not about deep sea exploration, which kind of threw me for a loop because I had a friend in college and in high school that would read Clive Cussler constantly, and he was kind of telling me things about it. But the first book that I read, it did start out with them pulling a shipwreck out of a lake in America, and then it went back to the turn of the century, and that ship was operational and the mystery started. So Clive Cussler is like a marine type, deep sea exploration type writer. Now, he actually brought to life an organization called NUMA, N-U-M-A, and I can't remember exactly what it stands for, but it's some kind of underwater exploration agency thing. He created that in his book. It was fictitious, and now it's real. And they actually, because of the book, he's made this. He's like wrote into existence things like that. So he's pretty amazing. And they found old shipwrecks like the Civil War and things like that. So he's a pretty amazing guy. He really, when he talks about this stuff, he knows what he's talking about. So guys, this book, Clive Cussler gets a lot of bad rap on YouTube and stuff because it's so outlandish. His characters are more like caricatures, like Buzz Lightyear, someone who's chivalrous and never has a bad day. And the book that I'm reading, it's a series of these couple called the Fargos, Remy and Sam Fargo. So only the two books that I've read about different characters, they're both independently wealthy. Even the villains are all independently wealthy. So I don't think he likes to be bogged down with like them not being able to do what they need to do. So he makes them super wealthy. They have all this staff back at their house, like pulling strings, booking them boats, booking them flights, all taking care of everything behind the scenes. And they're just partying like they're going to different islands and exploring. This particular couple, Remy and Sam Fargo, they struck pay dirt when they invented like this metal detector years ago, and then this big company bought it, so they're flush with cash. They donate a lot of money. They're they have this four-story like mansion overlooking the ocean on this bluff in the United States. It's just tricked out with like the latest tech and everything. They have this lady named Selma who hangs out back at the house. She used to be like the main researcher for the Library of Congress. Somehow they snagged her to work for them. So anything they need, like, hey Selma, image coming at you, check this out. She's like ripping it up on Photoshop. Yeah, this is what we have here. You can call her at 2 in the morning on their satellite phones and she answers her phone. That's how. So it's really unreal. But like I said, I think he wants you to live vicariously to the character, so he just puts out these kind of caricature characters that are just like full on adventure like James Bond. And the husband and wife are finishing each other's sentences. They're like, in one scene in this book, they're literally being hunted down by these African guerrilla army, and it's like 2 in the morning. They haven't slept. Their boat got blown up. They're in a rainforest under a hollow log, and the rebels are like literally walking on the log over them with their AK-47s, like looking down on the ground, and they're like cracking jokes. They're like, one-liners and stuff. It's so it's really unbelievable. And then, but the thing I like about it, I'll tell you guys why I like about it, guys. First of all, you get to know Clive Cussler. You get to know what he likes. So the guy likes his hotels. He likes his fine foods and fine wines and all this stuff. So the book is just like a smorgasbord of name dropping of hotels that he likes, and restaurants and brands and coffee. And the thing that excited me was my book that I'm writing is like a continuous, like a repeat of drinking coffee and watching sunsets and fast boats and stuff. I've seen a lot of that. I really loved it. It kind of like was a confirmation for what I was doing. But guys, he name dropped so much, and it's not just like, we got a coffee. It's like, the lady that they were gonna have do some research at the Library of Congress was like awake all night, and she's like sprawled out on her lap on her keyboard, and they walk in and they're like, hey, here's a bag of bagels from Starbucks, and there's a Starbucks Bente Bold like dark roast in there for you too. So like they're like dropping, or like they set up the thing at their home and they're getting ready to dive in this research. But first they order 2 large pizzas from like Pete's thing and down the road, this kind of pizza. So like it's like a mukbang of just you get hungry, and I'm in the Philippines, so a lot of this stuff isn't available. Guys, another thing he does is he drops a lot of names of like technology. He has iPhones, Apple computers with the latest. This is like 2010 or something, so the latest Retina displays and all this. He's dropping all this stuff. He loves to describe how he's syncing up his camera to Wi-Fi to pass the pictures, and it's kind of funny. So he loves that he's bringing up the tech of the era. He loves tech, it sounds like. There's a little scene in there how he's in Madagascar in like this rainforest, really poor area, and he needs to get on the internet, and he walks into this little Kwanzaa hut library, and there's like a whole spread of like brand new Apple computers in there that are dialed up into broadband. And the lady's like, oh, Steve Jobs came through here and he donated this to us personally. He came through here. So he drops, is that true or not? I don't know. And the guy is so factual and he's such a historian that it makes you wonder, did that really happen? Is that some tidbit he picked out somewhere that Steve Jobs came through Madagascar? I don't know. So you don't know. You don't know what's real and what's not because he's so good at it. But anyways, guys, the whole plot of this book is that this Remy and this Sam Fargo, they're on vacation in Zanzibar. It's like this little island off the coast of East Africa, like under the Horn of Africa. Little island, very sketchy, very beautiful. They're swimming around this treacherous, like, by this like drop-off type reef thing. It's really dangerous, and there's this really dangerous currents that are ripping through at this time of the year, and there's sharks infested and everything. And they're just like swimming around, and they see this gold coin, this like this gold encrusted like and gold coin anyway. So they pocket the gold coin, and they then they see the tip of what looks like a barrel. So they have these little ping pong paddles, and they're like pushing the sand off, and they find what appears to be a ship's bell, big ship's bell. They know it belonged to a big ship. So then they're faced with a decision: are we supposed to like unearth this, because if there's maritime laws, they can get in a lot of trouble if they go into too heavy of excavation and things like that. They've run this beautiful yacht or this boat that's sitting out there. Anyways, they decide to go for it. The next morning they come back, and thankfully the tides have changed and the bell has unlodged and it's free now. So anyways, they rig this thing up, they pull the bell off, and then everything ensues. Then we jump to this character in Mexico City who's actually the president of Mexico, this real ominous character. And Mr. Cussler has the ability in like a couple paragraphs to let you know this guy's evil. He's very powerful. He's a president. He's a super nationalist, and he's hiding a big secret. He has part of this bell. It's like the bell clapper or whatever, the tongue of the bell or something. It's like this Aztec symbol that he owns. It's in his office, and this whole symbol revolves around this thing, this mantra that he's preaching. And if everybody finds out where the rest of this symbol is come from, they will. It's something to that effect. Like he has to hide. He cannot allow them to find the bell or to do anything with the bell. So it's like James Bond. He starts calling in. This president has all this money, and so they just start getting attacked on all levels. But guys, Sam and Remy are very obstinate. They have money and they love what they're doing, and so the book is just a repeat of them getting these really hairy situations. More action than James Bond. They're crashing $4 million helicopters. They're blowing up. The people are dying. The bad people are dying. There's and then there's these little intervals where they're back at the villa. They're sitting in the rainforest, you know, waiting it out. She's like, "Oh, promise me that you put me up in this really nice place and whatever." He's like, "Done deal." So they escape, and then they go back and they're like living at large, you know, run another boat, go back out again, trash the boat. You know, guys, sorry, my camera kept falling, but he just unabashedly says they love their lavish lifestyle, whatever. So they're constantly recouping, eating these wonderful meals, and he's going to the great deal what they're eating, what wines they're drinking, and then the next chapter they're back out in the bush again. They're back in the rainforest. There's like this constant back and forth. That's what drives him, I guess. The sense of adventure and the sense of like risk and hard roughing it, and then going to relax. That's what he likes. That's what he likes, obviously. So that's what these characters do, like over and over through the book. Like I say, there's a ton of name dropping of brands, of places. But guys, so why should you read Clive Cussler? People say that it's unrealistic. One of the things he likes to do is he puts himself as his own character, as himself in the book. In this particular case, they're traipsing around in Madagascar in the rainforest, and it's like the foliage is so thick they're getting cut by underbrush and stuff. And anyways, they're in a real hostile, gorilla infested area, and they. Just about when they don't know what to do, it's like dusk. They hear a voice, like a southern, voice comes from under like a bush, like, "Hey, you guys lost out there? You guys, who is that?" So they walk around the corner and he's sitting there, smiling. It's this 70-year-old man with white hair and mischievous green eyes. That's what it says, and he calls himself the Kid. He's got a slew of revolvers hanging around. This certain revolver he loves. He got them everywhere, shoved in they're all over the place, and he gives them, "Here, you want a revolver?" So he calls himself the Kid. Anyways. This guy ends up playing a huge role. I mean, they get captured. He escapes. He's up on the hill. He pushes boulders over the hill and smashes the cars and everything. And at the end, he hands them this burlap sack. He's a truffle hunter. He's out there. What he's doing is he's hunting truffles, these expensive truffles out in the Madagascar rainforest. Hands them this burlap sack that's stitched in the side, this C logo that says Cussler's Truffles. So he loves to put himself in the book. And the places where he inserts himself are just unrealistic. Without him, they would have perished. He's like the savior. So it's kind of unrealistic, guys. Again, also his characters are very unrealistic. They're caricatures. They have no flaws. They have no hormones. They're not like, fighting, or they very rarely get thrown off course. They're just like these, these super characters like Buzz Lightyear or someone. So anyways, guys, that's one of the reasons it gets kind of a bad rap. But why you like it is because he does a great job of hooking you in the beginning with this crazy epic plot. And so, guys, he hooks you with this plot, and then he does a very good job, and he's really masterful at writing the plot. And so here's why you'd probably like him. If you get turned off by any of the things I listed already, there's so many threads that go through the book. He's really smart. There's so many threads that go through. You're bound to like one of them. The one that I like is this. The historian. He's a historian, so he's dropping all these historical facts, these places. He's in Washington, D.C., right? And he's like, we were going to go to this place that's called the Monaco or something. It's like this beautiful restaurant that used to be a post office, and he describes it, and there's a hotel there. And then this section of Washington, D.C. that he likes, this old section of these houses, and then he goes to Georgia and describing all these real places you can go to. Or, like I already listed, like Zanzibar and Madagascar, and then he goes to Indonesia and the Krakatoa and talks about the volcano, this cataclysmic volcano that hit there in 1830s, and all this stuff. And the first book I read was the same thing. At the place right in the middle of the plot, the great San Francisco earthquake hits. His books are really amazing with history. And secondly, he's throwing out all kinds of real things about power, like he loves strong, powerful cars, powerful boats. He had an amazing collection of his own when he lived. So he's talking about these Rinker speedboats, stuff you have to research. So what is Rinker speedboat? Well, it went out of business a few years back, but it was made in Indiana. It's this little speedboat. He's talking about all these things, so he makes you kind of hungry for what is this stuff? Like, he's dropping out real names of like models of everything's real. They go to this like evil villain super character's house, and there's this pair of these huge binoculars mounted on the top, and they call them Big Eyes or something. Like, they're called Big Eyes or something. That's a real thing. It's like all this stuff is real. So he's very, very factual, and he loves to do his research and throw a lot of facts at you and a lot of history. So you'll learn a lot. You'll actually really learn a lot. The funny thing is, like, all the food and all the the coffees are always making coffee, and just kind of the unrealisticness of the characters and how they're not slowed down by anything. Like, money's not an object. They never stop. And this amazing character back home keeps sending them wires, like lining up planes, seaplanes, lining them up boats, and they're in this remote, torn up, war torn, and then she's lining them up yachts. Like, go pick up, your yacht's gonna be here, your seaplane's gonna be here, over here. She's lining all this stuff up online. So she's this, so guys, it's unrealistic, but if you want to live vicariously through a character and just like go full tilt, this is a guy. And there's something kind of like nice about it, predictable about his style, and he's just straightforward. And this is a terrible review, guys, but anyways, see if you like it, just try it out, and if you like coffee, you'll love to read his books because he's drinking a coffee every other page. They're drinking coffee, and that's why I like him, because my book is the same way. I just, for whatever reason, my main character, protagonist, she's always making coffees, and she's looking at sunsets and sunrises, and she loves fast boats, and she loves speed and things like that. So, guys, anyways, thanks for watching this. So if you like to check out my podcasts, go over to Terry Talks Fast Facebook, and I link them in as I do them. I did one on this book. It was like 30 minutes. And also, guys, you can find my podcast also on Spotify right now, and you can find them on Google Podcasts. I'm working to get them on Apple. It's still approving me, and then hopefully I'll get them on Amazon. But anyways, guys, you can find me. Just go into Spotify and type in Terry Talks Fast, or just look on my Facebook Terry Talks Fast page, guys. And we've been sick for a little bit, so I'm just trying to be consistent with my vlog. I'll have some footage of Brighton soon for the next vlog. So guys, thanks for watching, and see you next time.